Lesson 79, Multi-Word Expressions. Hello and welcome to this lesson. Today, we are going to talk about multi-word expressions, also known as idioms or fixed expressions. These are phrases where the meaning is not always clear from the individual words, but they are very common in natural English. Understanding and using them will make your English sound more fluent and natural. So, let us get started. Learning and remembering multi-word expressions. First, let us understand what multi-word expressions are. Fixed expressions, also called idioms, often have meanings that are not clear or obvious. For example, the expression to feel under the weather means to feel unwell. The words themselves do not tell us what it means, but the context usually helps. It is important to think of multi-word expressions as units, just like single words. Always record the whole expression in your notebook, along with information on grammar and collocation. For example, this tin opener has seen better days, which means it is rather old and broken down. This expression is usually used about things and always in the perfect tense form. Multi-word expressions of this type are often rather informal and include a personal comment on the situation. They are sometimes humorous or ironic. However, as with any informal words, be careful how you use them. Never use them just to sound fluent or good at English. In a formal situation with a person you do not know, do not say, "How do you do, Mrs. Watson?" Do take the weight off your feet. Instead, say, "Do sit down" or "Have a seat." Organizing multi-word expressions. Multi-word expressions can be grouped in a variety of ways. It is probably best to use whichever way you find most useful to help you remember them. One way is grouping by grammar. For example, expressions like get the wrong end of the stick, which means misunderstand, or pull a fast one, which means trick or deceive someone, follow a verb plus object pattern. Others like poke your nose into, interfere, follow a verb plus prepositional phrase pattern. And expressions like be over the moon, extremely happy or elated, feel down in the dumps, depressed or low, or be in the red, have a negative bank balance, follow a verb plus prepositional phrase pattern. Another way is grouping by meaning. For example, expressions describing people's character or intellect, as daft as a brush, very stupid or silly, takes the biscuit, is the extreme or worst of all, a pain in the neck, a nuisance or difficult person, and as good as gold, behaves very well, usually used about children. You can also group by a verb or other keyword. For example, expressions with make a meal out of everything, which means exaggerate the importance of everything, make a move, go or leave, on the make, wanting money or power for oneself, and making heavy weather, making slow and difficult progress. Grammar of multi-word expressions. It is important when using these expressions to know just how flexible their grammar is. Some are more fixed than others. For instance, barking up the wrong tree, which means be mistaken, is always used in continuous form, not simple. So we say, I think you are barking up the wrong tree, not I think you bark up the wrong tree. A good dictionary may help, but it is best to observe the grammar in real examples. Note how other units group expressions in different ways. So, that is our lesson on multi-word expressions. These idiomatic phrases add color and fluency to your English, but it is important to learn them in context and use them appropriately.